From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
One ball, corner pocket.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi
And Corey Clark.
Wake up! What is up, everybody? It's Wake Up Warchant presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Coming up on today's show, Renegade Express mailbag, all your folks' questions. Statistical comps for DJ Uiagalelei, the new kickoff, should it come to college, and a surprising amount of baseball and basketball questions. Wake Up Warchant presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, Tallahassee, Florida. CPTallybar.com, the website. QR code on your screen takes you there as well. Or I can take you there virtually. Listen up, everybody. Lunch specials, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., only $8.99. It's incredible. $8.99 doesn't get you anything, even through a drive-thru these days. But it'll get you a cheesesteak sandwich today, chicken or steak, and a side dish of your choice. Lots of great sides to choose from at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Get your food, get your fixings on. Also have some fun. Bingo night tonight, 7 o'clock. Go have fun. Check out warchant.com around that time. I think we might be having Norvell on the Zoom around that time, Corey, yes?
Yeah,
Somewhere
I
around
think
there.
that's about the time frame, right?
Yeah, so go do that, everybody. Corner Pocket Warchant. What a marriage. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. 5-star rating and review, please. Hit the thumbs up as well. Certainly would appreciate it. Subscribe. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Subscribe to warchant.com. Subscribe to the podcast so you know when a show is dropping, even though we're dropping shows every single day this week, because that's how we do it. Corey Clark here, everybody. Corey, grinding on a Thursday for us, or are you just gonna think of the best possible questions to ask and let the chips fall as they may on the Zoom?
Yeah, I mean, I always do a little bit of both, don't I? So Brady has a baseball game at 4:30 later on today on Thursday. So I'm going to leave that early. And if he's not playing, I'm going to leave before first pitch. And then I'll be there at the house transcribing and listening to the post-scrimmage updates.
What are you most curious to hear about? If
Brady just has good at-bats, that's all I'm worried about. Just have good at-bats. Be competitive out there. I don't care if you get a hit every time. Just be competitive. Or are you talking about the football?
Well, I mean, actually, that's the better answer. That's the more pressing issue. But yeah, is there anything that you think will, give you some good vibes or better vibes than you're feeling already, which we are feeling good vibes right now about this team. We see a good team out there, right?
We do. I would like to hear that as we talk about every show, and we'll continue to talk about probably for the next 6 months, maybe 6 years, the receivers, I want to hear if somebody had a couple of big-time plays, because Norvell's pretty good about that. He's never going to say, Malik Benson had 4 catches for 91 yards. They don't break it down like that. But he'll say, Benson had a long touchdown catch or a long catch. Jaylen Brown had a really explosive play. I just want to hear explosive big plays in the passing game. Although, again, it's coming against your secondary, so how much do you really want to hear that?
I want to ask them about Jaden Jones. I want to hear some kind of cool anecdote.
The defensive end, Jaden Jones?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's figure it out, man. I
just
want waves. I want waves of pass rushers.
Okay, right.
Like Marvin, we like Patrick Payton, Byron Turner, yes. Lola Hea, yes. Just imagine like a fifth guy in there. Just keep throwing bodies at these people over and over again.
Yeah.
Break their wills, much like the way Florida State broke the will of Florida on the diamond the other day. Let's get to the Renegade Express mailbag, Corey, shall we?
Let's do it.
Old dads and all, wake up. Sad time for me. March Madness is here, and there's nothing to rush home for. I keep hearing how FSU should do like the government and throw money at a problem to fix it. Get some NIL to get some better players, so to speak. I've said that. Sorry. I looked it up. Chandler Jackson, Jalen Worley, Cam Corn, Baba, Bull Bowen, Deontay Green are all 4-star players. Transfers Nickelberry and Watkins are 4-star players, with Watkins being really, really good. Primo picked us over freaking Kansas.
Yeah.
The time has come to maybe assess where the problem actually is. Cheers to the best, old dad.
Yeah, look, I think if you've listened to this show, you know that we weren't exactly thrilled with the coaching that was done this year. I have brought up once or 1,000 times the switching everything. I've once on defense, so your centers just get exposed by point guards every game. and I brought up 1 or 1,000 times that they don't have any shooters. Now, you could say they're not developing shooters, or you can just, are they not instilling confidence in shooters, or the guys just don't make shots. Like Nickelberry was a good shooter till he got here. All these other guys, Worley, Dante Green, Watkins, they're not knockdown shooters, Baba. And in this day and age, I do think there needs to be, even in the short term, and we were talking about probably one last year, run it back one last time, some sort of adjustment to the modern era of college basketball where you have to have shooters on the floor. I don't care if they're not 6'7" and long, because years ago, not even that long ago, Aslan, COVID wasn't that long ago, having length all over the floor did disrupt offenses, especially length with good defensive players, did disrupt offenses to the point where you went 26-5. But you don't have Trent Forrest and Patrick Williams and Devin Vassell on this team. MJ Walker. You had knockdown shooters as well. Like that team, again, was a perfect mix. But even in those 5 years, the game has changed enough where it doesn't matter if you make them just not run their offense. You had one of the worst defenses in the ACC. Probably one of the worst defenses in all of Power 5. And one of the worst shooting teams in all of Power 5. That all has to be addressed. Are they going to address the shooting? I absolutely think so. I do think they're going to bring in some guys that can shoot. You look in the portal, every day there's another guy that averaged 19 a game going in the portal, including the kid from Drake averaged 21.5. There's a kid from Stetson that entered the portal on Wednesday, Aslan, that averaged 21 a game and scored 43 in the conference championship game. Stetson's not that far away. Go get that. But, if they're still going to switch 1 through 5, and Cam Corrin's still going to have to guard 6'1" point guards, you're going to continue to get exposed. So I hope there can be an adjustment to that. Like, hey, all these teams can spread you out. They can fill you up with shooters, or they can attack the rim and score. Figure out the defense and get us some shooters. But your point is not wrong. It's not, when you look at that Florida State team, though, not all 4-stars are created equal. Like Devin Vassell was a 4-star. Does Dante Green look like Devin Vassell? Patrick Williams was a 4-star. Does Patrick Williams look like Baba Miller? So, again, you can make a comment on the development. I get it. I just don't – when I look at Dante Green in particular, I think he's not a high ceiling there. Jalen Worley just can't shoot. He does a lot of other things pretty darn well. He can't shoot. So that was a long answer. Sorry. Let's move on.
Balloon hole. Two-parter. Let's get to a football one first. What do you think of the new kickoff rules for the NFL? Do you think they'll do the same in college soon?
Mike Martin Jr. always told me, I know it's a completely different sport, but he said when Major League Baseball adopts a change, it always takes college 2 or 3 years to adopt it as well, but it almost always happens. So I do think maybe you'll see shifts banned in college baseball here the next handful of years. And I think that in this particular instance, yes, I do. I like the rule. Because doesn't it make the kickoff return a thing again, Aslan? It's a play, right?
Yeah, seemingly. So I guess –
can you explain it to people that didn't watch any XFL football this year? And I know that's a small minority of you guys. I know you all watch the XFL, but just the ones that didn't.
Glad you asked, Corey. Being a single man, having nothing else to do, lots of XFL football watched at the Hydro Vandy Midtown offices.
I'm sorry I didn't make any of your XFL parties.
It's, maybe next year. Now that you're married, brings a little more verve to the party.
Right.
All right, so the ball, they're going to still start with it kicked off on the 35-yard line. It's just that you line up as the kick team, like the kick coverage team. You'll be on the 40-yard line, the negative 40-yard line, the opponent's 40-yard line, if you will. So
if you're looking at the screen on your mind's eye, the kicker is kicking from, what'd you say, the 35?
Yes.
His cover team isn't even on the yard line with him anymore. It's, 15 yards further ahead, 25 yards further ahead.
Right. And then you need to have at least 7 of the kickoff return unit need to be in a 5-yard area between the 30 and the 35. Mm-hmm. So you can pick that out. Now, as a receiving team, you're also limited to having 2 returners in what they call the landing zone, which is between the goal line and the 20-yard line. So you need to kind of figure out how you want to deploy these guys. But yeah, it creates more lanes. I mean, it's more of a clean kind of collision. So things are actually going to open up and form. And the thing is, everyone can say, well, you just if you don't want to deal with this, you're just going to kick the ball out of the end zone and deal with the repercussions of being on the 25-yard line. Well, now they're going to move to the 30-yard line if you do that. And I don't know, is that enough to make defensive coordinators a little uneasy, Corey, to be like, well, Fitzy, like, don't kick it. We don't want him to start it on the 30. We'll take our odds of you landing it in the landing zone, and we can maybe pin them behind the 30-yard line. We like our odds of that.
So
better.
I didn't read the full details. So you can't fair catch a ball at like the 3 anymore.
I would not think so.
Yeah, the ball can only go in the end zone. If it goes in the end zone, it's a touchback. But if it's at the 2, like in college football, as we all know, you can run up to the 6 and wave your arms and you get the ball at the 25. I do think the 30-yard line is a pretty big deal. That's a pretty good starting field position. And I think if you can trust that your kicker can kick it high enough, which all these guys have the legs. You've seen these kicks, everyone. They kick them out of the stadium now. So they can kick them high enough to coffin corner the returner at like the 4. And then I think if you trust your special teams coming from the 40, then, okay, he's not going to get past the 17-yard line if they don't block us up. But the return, the other side of that is the kick returns will return to the game. And I was thinking about this, like guys like, well, Greg Reed's too old now, but a guy like Jalen Lucas could have a career because of this. Like a productive NFL career if he catches on as a return man, because they are essentially useless. There's no point in having a great kickoff return man because they very rarely get to return a kick anyway. So I like the rule. I don't know how they're going to do onside kicks. That seems a little odd.
You have to declare it. Yeah, there's no surprise element of onside kicks any longer. You have to pretty much declare it.
But I think the people thinking, why are they doing this? And I know that's not many of you, but the reason they tried to take it out of the game completely was because of the concussion factor, the injury factor. And it's 11 guys on 11 guys, just like every other play. But the guys you're blocking are getting a 40-yard head start at full speed.
Yeah.
Well, now they can't because they're already at the 40. And they're going to start making contact with your blockers at the 30?
Yeah, like 10,
right?
15 yards.
Or the 25. So they can't get that full head of speed that's dangerous. So it's more like a punt return in the sense that, yes, I know punt returners, the gunners are running 50 yards at full speed, but they're also they have guys in their way immediately. They don't have a 10-yard or 30-yard or 40-yard head start. They have the guys on the outside, the gunners, the dudes trying to make the tackle. There's guys covering them up, and they're trying to block him and push him out of bounds the whole way. So they don't just have free run at these dudes. I like it.
And also, hey, real quick too, you cannot, as a kick coverage guy, you cannot move until the ball either hits the ground or the guy catches the ball. So you're not like looking behind you and waiting for toe to hit leather. You're looking straight ahead, and as soon as the ball hits the ground or the guy catches it, then at that point you can run. So
then you got to feel like, I think most people are going to return the kick because you're catching it at the end zone, at the goal line, or even if it's 8 yards deep, you wouldn't. But if you catch it 1 yard into the end zone, you probably need to run it out because you're going to get to the 20 before anybody is there at you. And if you make a couple guys miss, maybe you're out the gate. I do like it just because I've been disappointed that the kickoff returns are just not a part of football anymore. That was always a very exciting part of the sport. Yeah. The two of the most exciting plays of the last 2 years during a 19-game winning streak, essentially, were Trey Benson's kickoff return for a touchdown and Deuce Spans against Duke. Those are fun plays, and they kind of got outlawed from the sport. So I like that they're trying to bring them back in. And yes, I do think it'll be in college football. Within the next 2 or 3 years, maybe next year.
Yeah. All kickoffs in the landing zone must be returned. So there's no fair catch sort of cop out or whatever. So we got that out of the way. All right. First part of Blue Noles question though has to deal with baseball. We did speak the link yesterday. Go check out the interview. Corey, did you write anything on it? Were you tasked with that?
To be determined.
Okay. TBD.
Yeah.
What does it say, Corey, about the mental makeup of the baseball team? Our baseball team, Blue Noel says, to go blast the Gators. He doesn't say the Gators, though. After the collapse at Clemson. I know the later inning bullpen needs some work, but there was no such drama this time.
Yeah, like I said on the show yesterday, I was very, very impressed with it. That it says a lot in my mind. Like, it's baseball, it's a goofy sport. They're going to lose some games they should win. They're not going to convert every save opportunity the rest of the season. That doesn't happen. But there was a chance, I thought, that it could spiral into a really bad problem. Just the whole makeup of the team. You go 19-0, you think you're the best team in the country, and then you blow 2 huge leads against a really good team on the road. That can have a really negative impact. It could turn, you always hear that, don't let one loss turn into 2 losses. Don't let them beat you twice. Mm-hmm. Well, I thought there was a chance Clemson could beat Florida State on Tuesday. I just thought there would be a hangover. I thought it's natural. I thought the pitchers would be, a little maybe scared or nervous or apprehensive, whatever verb you want to use or adjective you want to use, and they weren't. They were great. Armstrong wasn't. Everybody else was. The guys that haven't really done it at a high level at Florida State pitched really well when it mattered. So that you think that will give them a lot of confidence moving forward. I was just really impressed. And that offense, throw anybody you want at them, especially in the midweek. They're gonna hit them and hit them hard.
Yeah, he said the toughness and character were on display in Jacksonville on Tuesday, and I think he said it was. He called it the best response he might have ever seen out of a team in a regular season game. He talked about the way his team bounced back in Knoxville to make it to Omaha, which is duly noted.
Well, and don't you think I think you were touching on this yesterday too, Aslan. Like, it would have been one thing if they were down 6-5 in the ninth and they hit a grand slam, Florida State I'm talking about, to win 9-6. But to get a big lead was almost like, well, here we are again. The baseball gods have given you the exact same scenario 3 games in a row. How are you going to hold up this time? Number one, are you going to continue to build on the lead? The answer to that was yes. And then also, will the pitchers be able to get outs and throw strikes? And the answer to that was yes too. So it was a really good test, and it was a test that I think they needed to pass. Like, people can look at 14-3 and be like, oh yeah, it's a blowout, whatever. Well, they lost 2 blowouts. They were up huge in 2 straight games and lost, so it was good to get right back on that horse and get the same exact scenario, and this time extend the lead and then put them away in the 8th inning.
Go check out the interview, everybody. It's really cool. I mean, he talks about just how brutal those losses were and just what it meant to beat that Florida team, because it was a real game with real stakes and a big crowd out there. So, do you move now Oxford and Abraham to the outside the tent of suspicion that the Jeff Cameron show uses at times?
Well, look, I think Oxford is the guy I would have pitched in that game 2 on Saturday. After Rowan hit the guy and walked the guy, to be like, because I do trust that Oxford, he's a veteran. He's not going to typically have a meltdown, and I know he didn't pitch great the next day, but he came in after Whitaker had given up 4 or 5 straight hits, and so I trust him to pitch consistently. I don't think he's elite, but I think he's solid, and sometimes you need solid. Hey. Who's making fun of Jonas Scalaro anymore? You know what I mean? Yeah, my man always gave up a bomb, but he also got outs. And he'd give you outs. He'd give you innings. He was never great, but he was solid enough that he wouldn't blow an 8-1 lead. I don't think Oxford would have blown an 8-1 lead. And then, I think it was a really important step for Abraham. We'll see what it means. But to go from
you pointed out, though, Abraham did all right in Clemson. He kind of got betrayed by some bad defense.
He did. I mean, the first batter he faced hit a bomb, a 3-run homer, but it was also, he was throwing strikes at least at that point. He got, I don't even know if that's a home run in a normal park, the one he gave up to make it 8-4. But then, he's going to get out of the game. If Williams catches the fly ball in left field, they're going to win the game. So that wasn't his fault. And I also thought he felt the need, because the way the inning was going, that he needed to throw the fastball. He just needed to throw strikes with the fastball, and they got hit. I think in that game against Florida, he was much more confident in the curveball. He wasn't trying to, whatever you do, just throw a strike, just throw a strike. He was actually trying to make quality pitches, and it proved that he's a quality pitcher, at least that day. So, I don't know what it does. Again, I think the next step, this is probably too much about baseball, the next step is Dorsey, what he looks like his next outing.
Yeah. He's a lefty, right? Because you need someone else besides Oxford to trot out there in those situations. And stop apologizing for talking about baseball. This is a fun, exciting team, man. And it's spring football.
I meant in a row. That's by 14 minutes of baseball talk in a row. That was my problem. Concern.
It was 4 minutes.
It felt like 14 when I'm talking.
Noles, they host Louisville starting today, 6 o'clock at Hauser. So go check them out if you're in town. Check out vitaminenergy.com. Shake it and take it. Energy with benefits. Clinically tested, clinically proven to improve your mood, reduce brain fog, get those energy levels up, and to also improve your focus. How do you get the energy levels up? 260 milligrams of all-natural caffeine coursing through the veins, everybody. Get some. Woo! The Mood Plus, currently here on the desk at the Midtown offices. Nice packaging. I like the pink and the purple blends. It's very soothing. Maybe that's why they put it on the Mood packaging. Tropical berry flavor. Good stuff. 7 hours of energy, nutrients, as well as lemon balm extract, passion flower extract, valerian root extract, rhodolia rosea root extract. All these things in a nice quantity get you feeling good. Try it, everybody. Get one for free while you try it. VitaminEnergy.com. Promo code Corey.
Warchant BOGO.
Back to the mailbag we go, everybody. Where are we at right now? M. Adam CZ, everybody. Give it up to our guy, Mark Naples. Wake up! Great win in Jacksonville over the Fighting Napiers. So great to beat them in anything. That play to end the game was spectacular, and it shows that this team is playing really hard. It looked like the pop-up toward the first base bleachers hit some kind of net, bounced back into play, and our first baseman dove backward to make a wonderful play. Yeah, the Gator announcers were like, oh, they hit the net. Hit the net. Should be over. It was over. 14-3, mercy. Question, though, any particular reason why Mike Norvell won't let trusted media members like yourselves watch the Thursday scrimmage? It's not like you'd go on the air or write a column about the strategies or schemes or report on what the depth chart looked like, but I would think that reporting on which player stood out would be okay, whether the offense or defense won the day, perhaps. Things of that sort. Thanks for all the great coverage of spring football. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch this team.
Have we? I don't think we've ever heard why he doesn't want us watching scrimmages. And again, it's not something we're going to complain too vociferously about. Yeah. I mean, we get to watch practice. I'm going to stress that forever. No other major college D1 beat in the country gets to do what we get to do. So I'm not going to complain about it. But I don't know the reasoning other than, maybe if, Kromenhawk throws 4 interceptions. Maybe he doesn't want the whole world knowing that. Now, he could say, look, don't give stats. You know what I mean? But, we'd also, I don't know. I don't necessarily know why that happens. Maybe depth chart purposes or first team, second team, like not wanting to label starters. I don't know.
Yeah, we've never asked him, and I'll never ask him. Maybe like one of those times where he's like walking away from, or maybe if we get him for like a few seconds before he actually starts talking before the interviews after a practice, like, hey, coach, just out of curiosity, like not a criticism. Why?
Yeah, but do it just you and him. Because he's going to feel like he's being
put in the corner.
It's an inquisition if there's 15 people listening to the answer.
Yeah, but we're not recording it though. That's what I'm saying. I wouldn't do it when we were recording. I'd just be like, hey, before we, not before we start, but just like, hey, by the way, I've wondered it, and I don't have like even a decent, coherent theory on it. But to Corey's point, it's what if that's the price for being able to watch everything to the level that we are. Yeah, that's more than fair trade-off. More than fair trade-off. I saw somebody the other day on Twitter. I forgot what team they were covering. Maybe Alabama, and they were just talking about like, hey, like, no video. We're not allowed to do that, but like was able to finally watch practice for a whole time, and holy cow, this one player looked good. And yeah, I'm just like, yeah, we get to see that every single day. Like, so we can confirm it's not just like a one-day splash flash kind of thing. So we are extremely fortunate. I was going to say terribly fortunate, but that's.
I bet if you polled 100 media members from all across the country covering these big programs, Michigan, Ohio State, Washington, Texas A&M, and I bet 99% of them would be floored, stunned, literally stunned by the access we get. It is so uncommon to be in a place like Florida State and not only get to talk to whoever we want to, but legitimately watch every second of every practice. During the spring, and then at least Tuesday and Wednesday every week of the season. And the only caveat is we can't report on injuries. That's it, or trick plays or something. But basically injuries. I mean that's it's really. And again, I think the reason some of this show continues to get more and more popular, our website continues to get more and more popular. Obviously, we're awesome. We're not saying we're not. But we're getting to you get to hear what's going on, and we aren't speculating. We're watching with our eyes what's going on, And that's just that you can't put a price tag on what that means to a fan base to be able to really know from people they trust and people whose eyes they trust what's going on with their football program. So, hey, thanks, Mike. But, hey, open up a scrimmage, you big baby.
Well said.
I would, and that was not I was being sarcastic there, but, I would like to see a scrimmage. I don't know if he thinks, like, the sanctity of scrimmages.
Right.
Or just for the team itself. I don't know.
What he should do, if we ever ask him that, his answer should just be, why don't you go ask all the other coaches why they won't even let you watch a practice?
Yeah. We're talking about a scrimmage?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, go ask why Kalen DeBoer and Sark won't let their guys watch a practice.
Kirby Smart probably doesn't even let the media on campus until game day. I mean, who the heck knows what's going on up there?
Let's keep it with football. Tennis ump, wake up! How much fun are you guys going to have this year when you do your top 40? A few years back, there was a lot of comments that after about 10, it got really difficult, and this year it is going to be very difficult, but for a good reason. Namely, that the talent level is so much higher. Cannot wait to see your rankings when you do them. Thanks as always.
Yeah, and it's not going to be I feel like last year the top 10 was pretty automatic. Like, we all had about the same top 10.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll be the same.
Well, number one, is everyone going to pick DJ?
I'm sure DJ will be one because it's the quarterback and everything. But I think after that, it could be there could be a lot of fluctuation between different picks and different players. Like, I might have Pat Payton 4. Jeff might have him 11. Somebody else might have him 2. Same with Azarie, Malik Benson, the receivers especially. That's going to be, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be an interesting exercise.
You know who's not going to have fun is Gene Williams, the founder and administrator of WarChant.com, who still presides over this along with Price Waterhouse Cooper.
Right.
Is that who they are, Price Cooper?
I don't know if the Cooper. I know Price Waterhouse. Did Cooper become a partner?
I don't know. I should have stuck with something I know, like Deloitte. Okay. Right? They're the one. They're the Heisman folks that audit that. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, because everything gets there's a point system to all this, and it's just going to be crazy with aggregating everybody's different ballots, and it's going to be so many guys that missed. I feel like usually when we unveil 36 to 40, do we also do like the people that missed out? That almost might be its own breakout video, its own write up, because the
honorable mentions,
because a lot of guys aren't going to be able to make it on there, but. Yeah, it'll be fun because I agree with you, Corey. I just feel like the top 5 last year, I don't know, I bet we all had the same 5 players.
Yeah, I would say it was Keon, Verse, Benson, Johnny.
Yep. Jordan Travis.
Jordan Travis.
Yeah.
And Jaheim maybe was 6th.
So, yeah, I feel like DJ will probably find in everybody's, probably Patrick Payton.
But literally, after DJ, nobody's going to – Jared Verse was an obvious number 2.
No.
And Keon was obviously top 3 or at least top 5. I don't know that there's an obvious top 5 after DJ. Literally, no. There's obvious top 20s, but Azarie is probably the closest thing to an obvious choice. But what about Shaheem? And then Peyton, Marvin Jones, Malik Benson, on and on, Morlock. The offensive lineman. Toafili. It's just a lot of – it's a cool thing. It's like, again, would you rather have – if you're a rock group, if you're a band, Aslan, would you rather have an album with one number 1 hit and then nothing else, or an album with 7 top 10 hits?
Oh, yeah. Give me the 7 top 10s, buddy.
Right. Yeah, you're just playing for – your career is going to go for eons.
Wanted to say, somebody had commented on the show the other day just about, fellas, the bar isn't that high for 2024's receivers to be better, LOL. We didn't have one receiver go over 700 yards. What are y'all going to say if we have a 1,000-yard receiver? Come on. I guess it kind of goes to the point about, this top 20 of the top 4 is going to be wide open. Wide open.
But again, maybe there will be a guy that goes for 1,100 through 4 practices, and I know that's a dumb way to even start a sentence, especially in the spring. I don't know that I've seen somebody that's going to be an automatic 1,000-yard receiver. I think you could see a lot of guys that have 400 to 600 yards. But again, you don't have a Keon in this group. But I know Keon's production, I guess, wasn't, when you looked at the yardage itself, wasn't outrageous. But, there are ways to judge receivers maybe more than that just by just yards. But I don't quite remember the conversation.
So James B said, way to jump in there, James.
Okay.
Appreciate you fighting the good fight for us in the YouTube comments. Let's keep it baseball. Actually, no, let's keep it football. Seminole Life. Lance Harbor. Awesome avatar. Wake up, fellas. Over-under time. DJ Uiagalelei throws for 3,200 yards. Over-under. Azarie Thomas interceptions 3. Over-under. Kind of would have liked to see 2.5. 3 kind of feels like a push, but that's probably a good number. But I guess let's start there because I'm rambling about it. I'll give him benefit of the doubt. I think Azarie can pick off 4. I mean, we want an all-conference, all-American type year. That's probably what would help that kind of candidacy, no?
Sure. I'm going to say under, though, because I think the number's 3. Azarie, looking at you, buddy. The number is 3. And then what was DJ's?
3,200 yards.
So that's about
passing.
260 a game.
Don't put me on the corner. Don't put me
something like that, right? I would say
he's never thrown for over 26 or for over 2,700 yards in his career, for what it's worth.
I would say under, but close. I think you're going to be close there. But I think I don't foresee them averaging. I think they're going to run the ball better this year. I could be wrong. Could be 100% wrong. But I think the running game will be more impactful than it was last year, even without Trey Benson. So I think I wouldn't foresee them averaging whatever that would be, 275 yards a game passing.
You say that, but that running attack to end 2022 was lethal, and Jordan still threw for 3,200 yards in 2022, 3,214 yards. So maybe that's where that 3,200 number comes from. Man,
yeah, all right, sure. Hey, you know what? Over.
Is that a fair conversation? Comp, like not Jordan Travis last year, but 2022 Jordan Travis and DJ Uiagalelei? Not in terms of like a comp of like skill set, but just in terms of like production and maybe where they're at in their. I mean, DJ has to be more advanced now than Jordan was in 2022. At least those first 7 games before they really let him loose and let him.
Yeah, I think Jordan started playing excellent, not just pretty good, but excellent. I think Clemson game.
Week. Oh yeah.
I think the Clemson game. I know they lost. I know they were down 34-14 in the fourth quarter. But I think that's where he became who he ended up being, was that game and then everything after. I thought he reached a new level there. So, yeah, I could see that. But that I don't know what he averaged for Clemson game on. Well, probably not, because didn't they play Miami after that? And he didn't throw the ball that much against Miami. They didn't have to.
Yeah,
so, I could see him being that's a good comp. I think he could be. But I just think the second half of
He ain't got Jordan Travis against Florida 2022 in him though. Everybody, sorry though. I don't think DJ's got.
Oh, they're running around like a crazy person.
Just everything, man.
Yeah,
everything.
And I know his numbers weren't even good in that game, but Johnny Wilson dropped almost everything that was thrown to him, including at least one touchdown. He was riddled with drops. Yeah, I think the second half of 2022 is probably a ceiling too high for DJ. The Jordan Travis 2022. Yeah. But yeah, I think he could be right there what he was before that. Sure. Which, again, wasn't horrible.
No, it was 6-3 or whatever. Yeah, they were 6.
No, I mean just that they were 4-3 or 4-2. But, one of the losses was to NC State, and that wasn't a great play to end the game on up there. But, that was a really good defense. And, the wide receivers didn't play all that well in that game, I didn't think. Jordan didn't have a great game. But before that, I thought he had been solid. Even though he was injured. He was really good against LSU. So I think he could be that guy.
With that number, like if you knew that if I told you DJ is going to throw for 3,300 yards and you keep and maintain that opinion you had about the running game being improved, like is that would you say for sure playoff team?
No, but a really fun team. Okay. Again, we have no idea how they're going to vote on this stuff, dude. But none. Like if you don't win the conference, are you in?
Right.
So, no, I don't say it's a for sure playoff team, but I say it's a for sure top 15-ish team with a really, really fun offense. Because to me, DJ's going to be different. DJ's going to throw – he can throw for similar yards to Jordan, but it's not going to be a lot of – to me, Jordan was a 3rd and 4 master. Like he would complete it for 7 yards. He'd find a play for 15 yards, another play for 19 yards. DJ's going to have some 3 and outs. He's also going to hit some 75-yarders. So the yardage might end up being similar, but they're going to go about it different ways, I think. He's not as efficient as Jordan Travis. Not many people have been the last 2 years. Jordan Travis was at a next level. But I think he's going to bring a really big play element with his right arm that, quite frankly, was missing the last season.
Let's go to Island Chief. Wake up! Beating the bejesus out of the Gators is a great salve to help heal those wounds. Great coaching effort to get a team with such a hole in its bullpen depth to 20-3. Yeah, man, imagine if they'd be 22-1. They should be 22-1. Probably ranked in the top 5.
22-1. If they had a road win at Clemson and then 2 other wins against Florida, wouldn't they be 1?
I don't know how they vote on these things. Even those people are corrupt.
What's Clemson?
I don't have it in front of me. I think they're top.
Because they were 4.
Well, yeah, for beating Florida State the way they played them, then I'm sure they're going to be ranked a little bit higher.
So I would think winning on the road, a 2 out of 3, run ruling them essentially, just beating the tar out of them 2 out of the 3 games.
Sorry, third in the D1 poll. They're third right now. Clemson at 22-2.
Who's won?
Arkansas 19-3.
I think Florida State might. If you're 22-1 with 2 road wins at Clemson and a road win at Florida, I think that gets you maybe not one. I mean, you're right there in the conversation for sure. But you know what? Yeah. They blew those 2 games.
So Florida's 14-10.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
And they're still ranked 6th.
I know.
And
look,
loss.
If they win 2 out of 3 this weekend, they're going to be 16-11 and ranked 6th in the country.
Yeah, treading water. Island Chief says, speaking of depth, really deep depths, I know Jackson is a walk-on, and I had to absolutely rack my mind. Trevor Jackson, the quarterback.
Oh, okay.
But have there been any walk-ons that make you think, he might be a contributor? Who do you think is the best walk-on in FSU history as well? Thanks for all the great coverage. I appreciate all you do.
Well, that one's easy. That's Andre Wadsworth. He ended up being the number 3 pick in the NFL draft after he played at Florida State, and he was a walk-on in the 93 class. There's some other really good examples, but there's none.
Javian Elliott, in recent memory.
Yeah. And he played in the league.
Yeah, man.
Right? Yeah.
Got 2 I think he had a second contract, actually. Yeah.
But, Wadsworth is forever the answer, unless somebody gets picked number 2 or 1 in the draft. And Wadsworth, I mean, it's not just what he did, like that he was drafted high. He was a monster at Florida State and was like the ACC Player of the Year, not just Defensive Player of the Year, but overall Player of the Year in '97. He was incredible. Standing out in practice.
Well, physically, wasn't that fella, that defensive end, that you're like, is he on scholarship? And I'm like, no. And you're like, he looks like a scholarship player. I think. Yeah,
but it was just how he stood there. Yeah. But that was number 89, right?
Yes.
I'm almost positive that was 89. I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
Cecil Fielder's kid looks pretty impressive too at times. Well, I shouldn't say impressive, but like he looks like he belongs out there playing with these guys. But yeah, there hasn't been a walk-on all-star yet that's been like, hey, like a Jared Jackson. Was that the guy from Monticello?
Yeah.
We haven't seen one of those special teams demons, et cetera.
And it's
like
hard,
that.
man. Like the real. Let's be honest. The real position or positions that a walk-on could be impressive in these type of environment practice settings is probably running back and receiver, and they have a million scholarship receivers
and a lot of running backs.
A million scholarship running backs. So walk-ons don't really get a chance to shine and show out because they give so many of the reps. All the reps with wide receivers, it would appear to me, are with scholarship guys. So it's just hard for them to stand out.
Yeah, well said. There's
Jackson, but Trevor. Hey, back to the original point of the question, I think, because I know he said aside from Jackson, but I like Trevor Jackson throws a really pretty ball. Don't know if he's ever going to play quarterback a second of meaningful time at Florida State. But when you watch him play, you're not like, yeah, that doesn't belong with these other guys. He is legitimately, I would guess he's 4th, but when he gets in there, it looks just like it does with some other guys. Does that make sense? Like he doesn't look out of place at all. There's a reason he was an Elite 11 guy, and he does throw a really pretty ball, man. He throws consistently more spirals than any of the other three quarterbacks. Now, that's a lot more to going into a quarterback than just spinning it. But he does spin it really well.
Yeah, whatever they had to invest to get him here seems like it was worth it. And we don't know really the backstory because he was committed to Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Like as a scholarship guy, and then that fell apart for whatever reason. Then he ends up betting on himself and walking on here. So,
and I don't know. I assume he's a good athlete because he's a Division I quarterback, and they all are these days. But I haven't seen him run at all, so I don't know what kind of legs he offers. But just arm talent, it certainly seems to be there.
Yeah. By the way, Xavier Perkins, 6'4", 234 from Berkeley Prep in Tampa.
Okay, Xavier. Hey, we're watching you, big dog.
He actually proud. He played against Southern Miss, according to his bio. I should
all right.
Pull up here after I read this next question and see how he graded out. Let's go to random_John. Good morning, Azan and Corey. Hope you're both doing well. I apologize for missing last week with a question. Work has been brutally busy, which is a good thing. All right, good. Anyways, with Leonard Hamilton only having 1 year left on his contract and a few people leaving to the portal, what do you believe are the next moves for the basketball team? Will Baba stay? How are we going to convince anyone to come and play for a coach with only 1 year left on his contract? And what is it about our current roster that makes us fans, Michael Alford and you guys, convinced that Ham is the guy to get the team to the tournament next year? I mean, sure, guys are allowed to get better.
Yeah.
But in our case, how much better? What do you need to see to believe that Ham will get this fully on the tournament track next year? And do you feel he can and that FSU cares enough to make it happen? For right now, it feels like the wheels are still off the tournament rails and no one is coming to help us get back to where we want, or where we were rather, in 2020. Anyways, let's all hang in there, Hoops fans. Go Noles.
Here's my pitch. And all those are valid questions. My pitch, if I'm recruiting somebody out of the portal for Florida State interest, let's say, I would say, look, he is a borderline Hall of Fame coach. This is his last season of college basketball. We want him to go out on top, and we want you to be a part of it. So, hey, kid from Stetson that averaged 22 a game, you get to play at a real – we're going to pack this roster for 1 year. We know where most of the NIL money goes, folks, and we know where it needs to go for the foreseeable future. But maybe you go to some donors who have maybe pulled back or don't feel comfortable giving money to players for 1 year, and explain to them the situation. This is like a going-away present for Leonard Hamilton. We want to give him a competitive roster, one that can compete to not only get in the tournament but do some damage when it gets there. We want to load this roster with one. They could all be grad students. We don't care. Because NC State's whole starting five is grad students. Give him one more chance to go out on top, but we're going to need your help. And I think that's the only way. Because, look, the question was, what do you see at this roster that gives you any hope that they're going to be better next year? Nothing. Their three leading scorers are gone. So Jameer Watkins, as far as we know, is not coming back. And so that's an enormous loss because he was by far your best player. And you also lost your two other leading scorers with Dante Green and Primo Spears, who had some negatives attached to him, but could make shots occasionally. So you have nothing coming back that gives you any hope that you're going to make a run next year. Baba Miller is not going to make a leap and become a 20-12 guy. It's not happening. He's still got a lot of talent. I think he's much more impactful on the defensive end than the offensive end, but he needs to get better on offense and become an impact player there and not be happy scoring 4 points a game or 6 points or whatever it was. But no, there's not nearly enough returning talent on this roster as it's currently constructed and known to say, yeah, absolutely, they're going to be better. No, they're going to be horrible with this roster that they have right now, but it's the portal era, and we're in late March. So we'll know so much more about this program in June when we feel like the roster will be set for sure. And I just think that's the selling point to everyone involved. One last year, we're going to try to give you a really good roster that with legitimately high-level college basketball players. Don't switch 1 through 5, and let's go win some games.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Alford, I think you can pitch it as like this is an exciting opportunity, at least like to your donor base, where you're like, listen,
right.
We're going to go
to the players, right?
Yeah.
The players that you would be bringing in too. I think that's a pitch. Well, the money counts more than anything. I guess
it is the money because I mean, let's be honest. I know
Yeah.
coaches and their agents have conditioned all of us to think that these players and their families are thinking about these 3-4 year windows and blueprints. But I think especially when it comes to basketball, like the transfer culture in basketball has been around forever. Like the portal really hasn't made that. It's made it crazier, but it's been a big norm. So a lot of these kids aren't going to have hey, listen, all right, Seton Hall or Tallahassee? Like, you either want to go to, you want to do some undergrad for a year in Jersey, or do you want to do it in Tallahassee? I think there's some other things outside of NIL that are more appealing in Tallahassee. So maybe that's not the level of recruit you want to get you back to the tournament, but it hopefully can get you another Jameer Watkins clone, or maybe two guys that are 75% of what he was, and that gets you over the line. And yeah, I think if like you're Michael Alford, you're telling your donor base, like, hey, listen, we're going to go after like a really big fish. Like we know what we need to do, but before we get to that level, let's just all rally around this guy one last time. Like, just, this won't affect what we can offer the next guy that we're going to go after, but let's see what we can step it up just a little bit more. And
well, you're not trying to divert funds from football.
Yeah. No.
Because that matters more. But it's almost like a lifetime achievement award. Yeah. Like, you've done so much for this program, and Leonard Hamilton has, and he has run just a wonderful program in terms of off the court. And he's just a good man, great ambassador for the university. Has been here for over 20 years. He's got 1 year left on his contract. We don't expect an extension, but we also don't think he's going to quit or get fired. So this is it. This is the 1 year, his going away present. Give him a really good one. Give him something that he can maybe cut down a net, at least at the ACC tournament or the ACC regular season. Like, that this day and age, it ain't that hard to go get yourself a Sweet 16 roster. Right. You got to pony up, though. So I think those are the conversations that are, because you look at the portal, like I said, Aslan's right that transferring has always been a part of the sport. But it's obviously it's a hyperdrive now. It's incredible. Like, two guys from Colorado just went in the portal. Two guys that averaged over 11 a game. Like, every team, even really good teams that made the tournament and won a game in the tournament. And wait till those teams get these Sweet 16. Once those teams start losing, all those guys are going to go in the portal. You're going to have a wide expanse of players, really good players to choose from. Just go get guys that are good fits. Don't get, no offense. Well, I guess there is offense intended.
Don't say names. Don't say names, as we know.
You guys know who I would say. If I was going to say names, you guys know who I would say. Don't get those kind of guys. Do a little bit of background and don't just fall in love with the stats. Make sure you're getting a player that fits your program. In fact, you had one here this past year that, again, I won't say names, that didn't really fit the DNA of what you want your program and culture to be. So, go make sure you get the right guy. Don't just fall in love with the numbers, but go get some really good players. You've got, I don't know, man, 6 spots. You can offer 30 minutes of playing time to 4 different people. So go get them.
MyBookie.ag offering you a instant cash deposit bonus when you sign up for the first time and use the promo code WARCHANT. That's right. Just type in WARCHANT at MyBookie.ag when you sign up for the first time. Instant cash deposit bonus will follow. So you can bet anything, anytime, anywhere. They got a live casino in addition to all the live betting options when it comes to sports. NHL, ATP tennis, WTA tennis, golf, Major League Baseball gearing up. But obviously,
so today is opening day, buddy.
Yeah, there you go. Shohei, can't believe he got betrayed by his guy. Crazy.
Maybe.
March Madness, though. You can bet anything, anytime, anywhere, including first half lines. That's all I see currently right now, Corey. And I discussed them on the show yesterday, so let me put you on the spot on 2 of these here. North Carolina first half. Will they be up by more than 3 points? It's North Carolina minus 2.5 first half line against the Crimson Tide of Alabama.
Yes, they will.
Okay. Iowa State, will they be up by? It's minus a half point. Iowa State against Illinois. That's going to be a rock fight. That is
going to be, yeah. Iowa State likes to play in the 50s and 60s. And I don't think Illinois likes that kind of style. So there you go. There was a little basketball breakdown. Nice. I like Iowa State frustrating the Fighting Illini early. They might figure it out, win the game, but I think they'll be frustrated at halftime.
I like that. Promo requires $50 minimum deposit and rollover requirement of one-time your deposit total, including the bonus. For withdrawal, for full terms and conditions, visit mybookie.ag/about-us. Last one, Corey. We made it.
Let's do it.
We made it. Dave, Bardstown. Bourbon is your friend. I'm thinking about hitting the gym more often. Can you guys provide some details about your exercise and diet programs? Aslan, you've mentioned box jumps several times, but I'm sure you add in some stretchy bands or kettlebells here and there. Kettlebells.
Right.
Do you mind to share your trade secrets? Corey, is it chest and tries, then back and biceps, followed by legs, and repeat P90X, buns of steel, 8-minute abs? What's the diet plan? Protein shakes and vitamin energy, Ronnie Coleman's chicken breasts and brown rice, halal fit? It's
7-minute abs.
Yeah.
I picked up a hitchhiker one time, and he told me about it. It's a really good idea.
Huh.
7's the key number there.
Okay.
That's an old school reference, folks. There's going to be 11 of you that get it, but if you do get it, it's seriously one of the all-time funniest movies.
I had my buddy, he wasn't one of my great friends, but he's one of my, I still talk to him every now and then. And we didn't hang out all that much unless it was like a big group setting. And he was just like, it was him and maybe two of my other friends. And they were like, hey, do you want to go to the movies with us? We're going to go see There's Something About Mary. And I'm like, what movie? I'm like, I've got nothing else to do. Sure. Like, talk about going into a situation with just such low expectations and then absolutely being like overjoyed and blown out. Yeah, great.
It was crazy. So I went on like a Thursday afternoon with my buddies in Shanna, and I had seen the trailers, and they didn't quite frankly look funny. They looked goofy. It was a lot of the dog. Yeah. And I'm like, this just looks like stupid humor. Yeah. And then you go in there, and then Matt Dillon, the whole thing is just nuts. Yeah. Literally in one scene, it's just crazy. Yes, it was unlike any, because I had no expectations at all, and that was the best way to see it. Because anybody that saw it after the opening weekend had heard from everybody, this is the funniest movie you're ever will see. You've got to go see it. I went in there with zero expectations. Yeah. It was like, what is this? Even Brett Favre made me laugh out loud. What about Brett Favre? At the very end of the movie made me laugh out loud. Yeah, that's an all-timer. As far as, I don't think Dave's being sincere about the workout question. He doesn't really want to know. I would say I didn't change a lot of what I ate. I just eat a little bit less. I don't have a crazy diet. I do smoothies now, which I've never done, which are fun. Keep me regular.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Orange Theory is where I work out most of the time, and so I'm always doing about 5 days a week. I do about 25 minutes of cardio, running, like straight up running. I do rowing. Rowing is a really good exercise. There's always I probably row, I don't know, at Orange Theory you probably row 3,000 meters a week, 4,000 meters a week. So that's always your back, and that's a really good exercise for your back and your neck and all that stuff. And then, when I go to the gym, I hate to say it, but it's almost always just chest and buys.
Nothing wrong with that, man. Look at the poster sells itself, everybody.
Exactly right. Exactly right. If any local gym owners want to get on board this train.
Well, our guy at Anytime Fitness here in Midtown, I got to give him a shout out. He's a subscriber and has opened the doors to the facility for me, and it's top notch. So.
That's where I go when I go I do Anytime, and it's I can go anytime. It's great, and it's a really nice gym. I never feel pressured in there. It's not one of those gyms with a bunch of dudes benching 450 and squatting 800, so you don't feel out of place, but you can still get all your work in.
Yeah, I feel like there's probably only one of those gyms in Tallahassee, and it's like around Railroad Square, somewhere gritty.
Yeah.
But so this is probably like one of the more obnoxious things I'll ever say on this podcast, but I'm going to go on vacation in May, which I think I've probably told you about, Corey, but I didn't give the details on it. But my buddies are certified to sail boats, so we're going to rent a yacht, and we're just going to sail in the British Virgin Islands. And I want to get in shape for this thing because I'm like, oh, this is like a yacht. Like I'm thinking like America's Cup. I'm going to be running around and sliding and ducking under the jib and cranking all this sort of stuff. So I email my buddy, or I text my buddy who's actually a trainer at a university here in the state of Florida. I'm like, hey man, I'm going on a sailing trip. I want to be in shape for it. Can you give me just some sort of workout for muscular endurance? Because I've peaked out. I've plateaued on any sort of muscular strength I have. I'm not going to get any stronger. I'm never going to be able to put up 225 ever again in my life. It just is what it is. I'm like, let me just be able to have more endurance pulling on a rope and running up a sail or whatever. He's like, hey man, download this app. I'm going to give you our login. I'm going to give you the workout plan that I use for my rowing team. So I've got friends that know how to sail yachts, and then guys that are going to give me workout plans to get yacht fit. So If you don't like
rowers, man, that's a different life.
It is. Yeah. So I do. So now I'm actually doing the workout plan he gives me, and it's not that intense because also these student athletes are also actually doing their sport of choice all the time. Sorry for the fitness corner, everybody. But I'm adding in, so I'm ramping up. Like the first week I'm doing 10 minutes of cardio after I'm done working out, which has been on the row machine, Corey, which you ain't lying, man. Kicks my rear end. And I'm going to go to like 12 minutes, 15 minutes. And by the time I leave here to go on that trip, hopefully I'll be up to like 30 minutes of being able to do that and maintaining. The older I get, man, I want to look good when everything comes off. But, man, I'm just so much about flexibility and mobility. And all this stuff that he has me doing has a lot of that. Check out a guy named Vernon Griffith. I think he was actually at Florida State, and he did a tour of the facilities they have. This guy does a whole bunch of like spine strengthening and mobility exercises that I've only done for like a week now. And my buddy who's a trainer uses a lot of his stuff, and I've already felt it like make a difference. I just don't know. I'm getting in my 40s. I see my father. I'm built just like my dad, and my dad is creaky. And I'm like, if I don't take care of my body, I too will be creaky. So I'm all about mobility and agility over and over any sort of like strength. So
okay, all right. And I wanted to give a shout out to Bill Fredericks, obviously, because he started me on this journey 2 years ago. It's been over 2 years that I started doing this, and I try to do something literally every day. And I've never been prouder of the shape I'm in because I never really had a reason to be proud. But for 2 years now, I've been working pretty hard at it, and I feel good about it. But I wanted to say at Orange Theory, it's not just running and rowing. The cool thing about it is you are on the floor doing exercises like Aslan was talking about. Sometimes it's bands, sometimes it's weights. It's always some sort of weights. It's planks. It's all these other things. It's core workouts. It's leg workouts. It's arm workouts, upper body, all that stuff. So you're getting like a full workout. So I don't ever, because it would just get boring to run and row. You need that other stuff too, and so that's where and you work out a lot of different muscles, and it really helps with the mobility. I actually have better posture than I've ever had. It's still horrible, but it's better than it's ever been.
These things are important as you get older.
We love you guys. Tune in tomorrow. We're gonna take you through why egg whites aren't all they're cracked up to be.
Pun intended.
Yeah, that's right.
All right.
Hey, exactly right. Man, we should be doing this show.
All right, that's a wrap for us. Plenty of stuff going on over at warchant.com. Jeff Cameron Show, 1 to 3 o'clock again. Scrimmage, first of the spring, later this evening. We'll have Zoom availability with Coach Norvell, Coach Papuchis, Coach Fuller, Coach Atkins. That's everybody, right? That's all the coordinators and the head coach. So that's awesome. We're going to have all that up on the site. So check it out. Stay tuned in, locked in, subscribe. Thumbs up, please, on the way out. 5-star rating review as well. Subscribe to the pod. Subscribe to warchant.com. It's the ultimate Seminoles sports source for a reason. He's Corey Aslan. Thank you so much for listening to Wake Up Warchant, presented by the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.